What's going on, Scratch and Brew fam? Giovanni Herrera here, bringing you a Scratch and Brew exclusive, the first ever Scratch and Brew podcast. This idea has been sitting with me for a while, the idea of attaching a podcast to the Scratch and Brew brand, and here it is. It was a lazy Saturday. Me and my wife got together, and we said, let's do it. Let's talk about, let's make the first episode about coffee shops, the pros and the cons from a San Francisco native perspective. So with that being said, let's jump into it. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you learn something new later. Rock with me, fam. Rock with me, fam. What up? Welcome to a Scratch and Brew exclusive. My name is Giovanni Herrera. I'm here with my lovely wife, Monica Raquel de la Mora.
What's
and
up?
We're just here. It's a Saturday. We visited some coffee shops. We were out in the Haight with our lovely friend Shannon, and now we're just home. We're getting into some shenanigans, and I thought, what other way to be creative than to do a podcast and to do just kind of like a one-off. And if it is good, if it is enjoyable, if people do love it, people do like it, they rock with it, then that means we'll do a little more.
And we also have nothing else to do today, so that's really the real reason why we're doing this.
And we also have nothing to do today. Monica was injured for half of the day. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Let's not revisit that.
Yeah.
But it's been a good day. We actually visited some shops called some coffee shops. We visited Ritual
And Flywheel.
and Flywheel. They both had amazing coffee. I had a pour over at Flywheel, which was really great. What did you have, Monica Raquel de la Mora?
I had what I always have, and that's an iced almond milk latte. And
There
it was
you go.
really good because the way that I know I like an iced almond milk latte from somewhere is if I don't have to add any sweetener to it, and I didn't have to add any sweetener to it.
That is the key, honestly.
That is the major key for me. So
Honestly, get super impressed when you do have a latte and you don't put any sugar or any syrup, and you're just like, I'm rocking with it.
it's hot, huh?
That is hot. Well, we are here. We're home again. And I wanted to do a podcast on a very touchy subject, and I wanted to do a podcast on just coffee shops, the positives and the negatives of living in San Francisco and seeing a couple coffee shops open up on your block. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something you can resonate with because Monica, I mean, I'm not going to say it. You say it. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born and raised in San Francisco, 415, yay area. Yarramin.
Yep, so Monica is a true native. And myself, I am also a native, but it's kind of more halfway because I was born here in San Francisco, but then I grew up in South
Mexico.
City. No, I grew up in South. Nothing wrong with my heritage, but no, I've never even been there. But yeah, here in San Francisco, raised in South City, and then as an adult, moved back here. So Monica has more credibility when it comes to San Francisco, going to the schools here and growing up here. Mm-hmm. So let's get this started. So I just wanted to paint a picture for the listeners. A couple months ago, I had some one-on-one time with my pops. My dad, he came to San Francisco from Mexico, and he started a whole bunch of businesses, and you know, he tried getting his money up somehow. My dad is a hustler, so shout out to him. And growing up, living in the Mission, he actually got to see the first... How do I say? You can help me out if you know I'm struggling with my words because you're my wife and you do that a lot. You're just like, oh, you might say this word.
Yeah.
Anyways, growing up in the Mission, he
saw it in its original state.
In its original state, he saw Phil. Phil, the guy.
Yeah.
The guy.
Yeah.
So growing up, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Phil's Coffee.
Yeah.
Phil's the place that they specialize in pour over. It's San Francisco originated, and my dad, he got to see it at its most rawest form. Actually, he knew Phil. He lived above the grocery store where Phil sold his coffee. I think that's how I'm remembering it.
Yeah.
But he would say that there was this grocery store, and it was like...
Isn't it like a liquor store?
Liquor store, yeah. It was a liquor store, but Phil would just sell his coffee there. And my dad would go there every morning, give get the coffee from Phil. Phil would be like, hey, here you go for free this time. You come all the time, blah, blah, blah. Here goes the coffee. One day my coffee will be great. It will be big. It will be in San Francisco. I will have shops. So fast forwarding to the day me and my dad were walking through the Mission, through 24th. We walked all of Valencia. One thing he kept saying was, this is so different. This is different.
Yeah.
And him just saying that really stood out to me. Number one, because I honestly felt like I missed out on something. Because, if I were to grow up in San Francisco, it would have been in the Mission District. Mm-hmm. It would have been around 24th and Valencia. So I kind of felt like I missed out on the origin and the culture that was in the Mission because I didn't have a chance to grow up there.
Yeah. So, and also Gio was saying that he would have grown up in the Mission because he did technically live in the Mission, but he was like, you were 3 or something?
Yeah,
you were like really, really young, and then the apartment he was living in burned down, and that's why he moved to South City.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, that's why he said.
So, that is why I did say that. So I kind of felt like I was missing out on something, and hearing my dad talk and just be like, everything's so different, everything's more expensive. Yeah, now it's a lot safer, but there was a lot more culture back then, and he didn't see plain blank as many white people walking through Mission. True. And I felt bad because I kind of felt like, damn, my generation's kind of those people, the crowd I associate myself with are those people that built the coffee shops. Mm-hmm. My people are the people who have tech businesses, and they have Uber, and they have all these Google, and they have all these places and work at all these places, which is making it hard for people who used to, who live here and have originated here. It's harder for them to live because it's more freaking expensive.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I kind of wanted to get into two sides of the coffee shop experience. Just FYI to anybody listening, I don't hate coffee shops. Mm-hmm. Neither do you.
Well, I'm just kidding.
I just wanted to start off with the pros of going to a coffee shop, the whole experience. Like, I feel like number one thing I hear from older generation people is just like, I don't understand how you can pay like $5 for a cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. That's so ridiculous. That's just a millennial thing to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm kind of like, we're not only paying for coffee, we're paying for the entire experience.
Yeah.
Like, the experience of going to a coffee shop, being able to sit there for $5 every 2 hours because you pay $5 and you probably sit there for 2 hours on your computer. That's what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're paying for the seating. You're paying for when you go into a coffee shop and you're just like, whoa, look at the lighting. Look at the furniture. Whoa, look at the designs. Look at the
You sound like
bags.
Such a millennial right now. but
it
it's true. But yeah,
it matters.
Does. It does.
So I think one of the great experiences about coffee shops is the environment they provide for you. Mm-hmm. They provide a sense of community. They give you not a free space, but they give you a space where you can go by and you can work.
Yeah.
You can get creative. You can meet your friends. You can drink really great coffee. Mm-hmm. But no shout out to them places that don't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
No shout out to them places that don't have seating.
I mean, we love you, but
we love you, but not as much as the ones
we
that
don't go
do.
to you as often.
We don't. Sorry, coffee break. So those are the positive sides of it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you have anything to add on to the positive experience of a coffee shop experience?
I mean, I think what is it called? The third wave of coffee, is that what it's called? Like basically like the high class coffee businesses that we have now. I think it's also opened up the conversation of like, where are our beans getting sourced from? The ethical side of sourcing our beans. So I think like, at least here in San Francisco, we can't speak for any other city or like big coffee place anywhere else. But at least here in SF, I think it's opened up the conversation of like, where are your beans getting sourced from? So I think that's something like I've become more knowledgeable of, like something I've never even thought of before. So if I know I'm getting coffee from a place that has a reputation of getting ethically sourced beans, I don't mind paying more money to get coffee from them because I know that my money is going to a good place. So I would say that I'm going to be a basic millennial right now and say that if it's an Instagrammable place, it's going to make my Instagram feed look poppin'. I'm going to probably go there. Like, I mean, no disrespect to Jane. Jane, I really love you. I mean, I'm sure that you're not listening to this, but if by chance you're listening to this, I love you. But man, I just don't love your coffee. I mean, that's the tea, sis. But I mean, your cups, they're A1. I love them. But,
if you don't know Jane, the literal names of those two coffee shops is Jane on Fillmore and Jane on Larkin.
Mm-hmm.
So just Google them, Instagram them, and they have one of the best creative cups I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Every time I get it, I always say, this cup is freaking creative.
And you know that I always get iced drinks. Like, I'm drinking an iced oat milk latte right now. Not from Jane, but, I'm drinking an iced latte. I always have iced coffee drinks, and I will always get a hot drink when I go to Jane because I want that freaking cup.
For the cup. That's
it. That's literally the only reason.
I don't want to say that's one of the big reasons I go there, though. And one of the bigger reasons I go to the actual coffee shop is because their artwork on their walls are hella nice. Their baggings, the coffee bag that they have are hella nice.
It's also really close to our house, so.
But it is really nice, though.
It is a really nice environment, so I like to be in there because I feel the good vibes there, So, yeah.
So we got good vibes?
Yeah, I would say, there's definitely coffee shops that I go in there and I'm like, damn, y'all really don't want me up in here. You want me to take this to go. Like, you don't want to give it to me in a for here cup, I definitely get that vibe from certain coffee shops, like, don't talk to me, like, order faster, snap, like, insert your card now. But then there's coffee shops that I'm like, oh, I think you actually, like, don't hate people.
Yeah.
And I get that from Jane. Like, I feel like Jane, I've never really had, like, maybe every now and then, but it's never really stuck out to me that anyone's ever rude to me at Jane. So, and their pastries are really good. Their Captain Crunch cookie is amazing.
Yeah.
And so it's I think overall, I really do like Jane, and I really like the way it feels in there. It just feels nice and happy. It doesn't feel like it's trying to be super cool or anything other than just itself. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, I like it in there. So I don't love the lattes, but I like it overall. I'll continue to go there.
So all this to say that they look really good. It's just that their coffee doesn't taste that great.
Yeah, it's if it didn't look as good as it does.
Damn, that sounds so mean. And
I know.
I'm on the positive side right now of coffee shops. We're trying to have the pros of coffee shops. Monica's just my pro is that sometimes they look better than they taste. Oh, that sounds pause.
Well, I mean,
that sounds bad.
I guess I'm more so just trying to say having a place that's Instagrammable.
Yeah, that
is really important.
It is.
Even though that sounds really stupid, it's just a fact.
And one thing that I hate about these coffee shops is that they've made me super snobby about graphic design. Literally, I would walk down the street, and if I see a coffee shop and I really need coffee, but the logo is not on point, guaranteed, get 100% guaranteed, I am not walking in.
It's true.
Miss me with that shit. I am not walking in if there's some whack graphic design, which I feel so bad because I want to support the smaller businesses that don't really have the sources to get a sick ass logo and some cool furniture. But at the same time, I'm just like, ooh, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So we have good vibes. We have an Instagrammable place. It gives you a place for creativity, community, a place to work, all that great stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the other side of the coin where we have, if you live in San Francisco, actually, before we get to the other side of the coin, we're done with the pros. I'm pretty sure we have a lot more. We just can't think of any right now. But you skip the pros and jump into a quick story. I was actually talking to a group of people that are not from San Francisco, and I was trying to tell them about Scratch and Brew and what I want to do one day and what I want my future coffee shop to stand for. And I was just like, I really want, that's my big goal with Scratch and Brew. I want this to be a coffee shop, but for now, it's not a coffee shop because I don't know anything about roasting, and on the way I'll learn. But when I do have the coffee shop, I want it to embrace the neighborhood that it's in. I want it to embrace the people. I want it to stand for, I guess, more of the minorities, I guess I would like to say, because there's literally times I walk into a coffee shop and on purpose I count how many brown people are in here.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, I did it today at Ritual. I did it today at Flywheel. I did it. I don't want to call people out. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm saying that. I did it today twice, and I've done it in the past where I'm just like, I count, and there's probably like 20 people in a coffee shop, and I'm just like, damn, me and my wife are the only brown people here, or maybe like there's 4 of us out of like 20, and that makes me feel away.
Yeah.
I know it's not their fault. Anyway, so I want Scratch and Brew one day to just represent the minorities, represent the people who aren't really represented in coffee culture right now. And I started saying, like, yeah, you know, and plus in San Francisco, when you see a coffee shop open, it kind of stands for gentrification. And they were really taken back. They were just like, what? No way. Are you serious? That's how it is? I'm just like, yeah, that's like real San Francisco. Like, that's not like the San Francisco you get at like Golden Gate Park. The real San Francisco you get is when you see the people that are actually from here. What do they think about tech companies? What do they think about coffee companies coming over and opening up on your block? And I told them that it stands for gentrification, basically, and they were really taken back. So with the other side of the coin, it stands for gentrification, and also one day, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but one day I was doing some research just on Google, and it came to my mind, like, maybe San Franciscans, people from here, we're the only people who think that it stands for gentrification. But I started looking up just blog posts like signs that your neighborhood is being gentrified, and out of 10 of them, 8 of them had coffee shops on the list. So it's not just us. We're not the only ones that kind of hate on it. So with that being said, how do you think that these coffee shops have changed the neighborhoods negatively? And have you seen a lot of coffee shops embrace the culture or the neighborhood that they're in?
I don't think I've ever seen a coffee shop embrace the culture of the neighborhood it's in. So if you're not from San Francisco, it's kind of, I guess it might be a little hard to picture or understand what I'm saying when I say like embrace the neighborhood it's in, because you're like, well, if it's in San Francisco, shouldn't it just embrace San Francisco? But each neighborhood in San Francisco is so drastically different from the other that, I mean, it has to embrace the culture of that specific neighborhood. And so I don't think I've ever seen a coffee shop take on the personality or characteristics of the neighborhood before. And how have I seen it like negatively affect?
If you have, you don't have to like really. Yeah, if you have.
I mean, like I can't really say like I don't think I've firsthand seen anything negatively affect. And I think it's just because the neighborhoods I've lived in. Oh, that was our speaker. It just turned off. I mean, like, I grew up in the Bayview / like Portola district, which is like on the other side of the city. Kind of like, to be honest, like the more like not like lesser known part of the city, I would say. And it's just starting to kind of like get like hipster coffee shops and breweries and stuff like that. So like when I was growing up, I never experienced gentrification really, because like my neighborhood is just now starting to kind of get like infiltrated by this stuff. I more so saw
a strong word.
Infiltrated.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's hurtful, dude.
But it's true. I mean, like the Bayview and then Portola really was just ignored a lot of like during this whole time that like techies kind of came in and like all this other stuff, or like kind of like started like taking over the city. Like the Bayview and the Portola really were just kind of ignored. And I think it's really just because like it was like the ghetto. It's like all the like a lot of immigrants are over on that area. I mean, I did not grow up with any white friends, and I didn't go to school with any white people at all. I just got my first like white friends as an adult. So
Same here.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I really didn't even know I knew that there was white people here in San Francisco. I just thought, like, oh, they're, like, on the other side, like, the rich side of the city. So I really didn't see anything growing up. I just feel like, I guess the only negative effect I could see is, like, I remember, like, I spent, a fair amount of time in the Mission growing up, and once we started seeing, like, fancy coffee shops coming in, or even just, like, fancy restaurants, like, in that area, I just think it just makes people feel like they don't belong there anymore, and they make the people that have lived there their entire lives not belong there anymore. And so I think it's just like it takes away a sense of belonging. Like in the Mission, obviously it was like a really like Latin heavy culture was present in the Mission. It was all Latino families, all Latino restaurants and businesses and all of that. And so when you start to see that being taken away, you just kind of see, oh, I don't belong here. Maybe I'm starting to not belong here anymore. Do I have a place in the city anymore? Because this is where I belonged, was the Mission area. And so when you start to see that, and then you start to see higher rents, being put into action for the apartments, and people can't live in their apartments anymore. And then it just kind of, it's not to say that coffee shops are the thing that cause all of it, but it's just always a sign of like, oh, like if this is here, if this fancy coffee shop is here, that means that everything else is going to go up, and then I'm not going to be able to pay it because I don't have a college education. Because a lot of like the older generation of like Hispanic people that came here and they don't have a college education because they came here to raise their children here, they can't make a lot of money. And so now it's just like, well, maybe I just don't belong here in the city. And I think like feeling like you don't belong somewhere can have a lot of, it just can spiral into like a lot of negative effects. So that's pretty much what I've seen.
Yeah, and I think it's really conflicting for you and I as well, because we have, like, you're a native. Mm-hmm. We have Black and Latino friends, and they're also natives. And we know some of them that are just, like, really angry towards white people because mm-hmm. they see them and they're just like, oh, there was no white people in the Bay Shore. Oh, there was no white people in Mission. Oh, there was mm-hmm. no white here, and there, and there. And now once they come, it's like $5 lattes mm-hmm. and you have white teas being sold for like $50 and you have boutiques that are selling expensive ass pants and shirts that aren't affordable for people in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So I get that. I get that 100%. But then also, like you said, in our adult life, it's the first time ever that we have like a whole bunch of white friends and we love them. And
we love you.
And it's not, they're not doing, we're not saying they're not, because it's not like our friends are just like, hey, we're the ones doing this. But It's just like, as a collective, it's not an evil thing. It's not like a, hey, to drive people out of the Mission or Bayshore or the Tenderloin, we're going to build coffee shops. It's just like, it's a passion. Mm-hmm. They know San Francisco is a great city if you want to have a new tech idea, have a new coffee shop idea. They know this is a place...
have a new idea in general.
In general, to come and to establish that idea. Mm-hmm. Which is... It's cool, but also at the same time, it has its repercussions.
Yeah, of course.
And I think one place, you mentioned like the Mission as well. I think just living here in Lower Nob Hill, mm-hmm. we're super close to Tenderloin, and we'll walk down, and that's where some coffee shops are. Mm-hmm. And I really see it. I don't know if it's negatively impacting it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, you're a super, super nice coffee shop, but it's just like, you're not tentative to the neighborhood you're in. Mm-hmm. You're selling $8 toasts.
Yeah.
There's people sleeping on the streets everywhere. Yeah. And you're selling $8 toasts. You're selling $5 lattes. Like, is this the right place to have a coffee shop where you're super expensive and people mm-hmm. who are out there asking and begging for money and have drug addictions? Is this mm-hmm. a right place to go to and to establish a coffee shop? Because now when we go to a coffee shop, and it sucks because we love it, and at the same time there's these both dark and light sides mm-hmm. about a coffee shop. It's just like I walk in, I can afford to go and get latte, but then I walk outside and I'm just like, oh shit, like not everyone can. I'm reminded of mm-hmm. that real quickly. So at the same time, it's kind of like, where are we putting these? Where are we placing these coffee shops that are attracting a lot of more techies and all these types of people that aren't the people of the neighborhood? I think that's like a problem too.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of like, it's, how do I explain this? Like, it's very individualistic. Is that the word? It's just kind of like we're only really concerned about ourselves. And, like, and like, not to knock, like, the coffee shops, because it's like, I mean, I'm sure, your first concern is to just make money. Yeah. Make money to pay your highest rent here in the city. So if you know that you can get $5 for a latte, if you know that you can get $8 for a piece of toast, like, you're going to charge that, and I think, like, if you're not, I don't know, like, and so it's like, and I don't own a business. Yeah. So it's like, I also can't just say, like, these are just money hungry people and, like, they don't care about anybody but themselves. Like, I'm also not going to say that either, because I don't own a business. Yeah. I don't know what it feels like to have that on your shoulders. Like, when you open up your coffee shop, because you are a man of color and you have a bunch of, like, you have experience you have a worldview of somebody who's Hispanic, who's a minority, who was born from a mom that was born in a different country, from grandparents who were born in a different country. You've had pretty much, like, most of your life only had friends who were brown, You're thinking about how am I including brown people and my people in this so that they can feel a part of this. And like I said, I'm not trying to say this in like a screw white people type of way. I'm just saying, like, it's a fact of, it's just a matter of fact of, like, if you're white and you've never experienced depression, or you've never, if you didn't grow up with your family being oppressed, in any way, like, it's just not, motorcycle. It's just not your go-to response to think about, like, man, how am I including people of color in this? How is this affecting people of color? What's the community? Is how many colored people are around me?
If you're a white businessman and you own a coffee shop and you're hearing this and you're getting all mad, hit me up, my man. I would love to talk about it. Or my woman or my man, whatever you are. I'd be more than willing to talk about it. I think right now it's just a point of view from people who are from the city. We're not like not white. And are not white. Yeah. We're not business people. We don't own a business anywhere. No. I aspire to, but it's just like, this is how we see. This is what people that are growing up in San Francisco, this is how they look at it. Yeah. And me knowing personally, because even though I didn't grow up with, like, seeing how the mission was and then comparing it to now, I have friends that are just like, all this stuff right here. Sorry, excuse me. All this stuff right here is different. It's all more expensive, and really, like, Latinos in Mission, the culture is being taken away. Yeah. Definitely. So, like I said, if you're just screaming at the computer right now or at your phone, like, these people don't know what the hell they're talking about, just hit me up. HMU. Yeah. Hit me up. I would love to talk about it. But is there anything else you would like to add to what you just said?
Just like final statements.
Whatever statements. I don't really have a length of how long I want to make this podcast.
I would just say, like, I just want to reiterate again, like, and I'll speak for myself, because I think, like, I've been saying, like, white people, like, a lot with everything I've said. Were strong, like, dude. And that's just, and I think that's just, I don't know. Anyways, but I would just like to reiterate, like, I'm not trying to, like, crap on white people. I love everyone. I have no, like I said, a lot of my friends right now, a majority of my friend group at this moment are white. Yeah. So it's not like I'm saying, like, screw white people, down with the white man. It's like, at all. I'm not saying that. But I do think that, like, there does need to be a conversation with not only coffee shops, but, like, breweries and, like, anything that's, like, hipster and whatever here in the city. Like, but obviously, like, we're focusing in on coffee shops. Like, there should be a conversation of, like, how is everybody getting represented in here? Yeah. Because as of right now, I mean, when we go into a coffee shop, we don't feel represented at all. Yeah.
But to be honest, to be totally honest, it doesn't stop me from going to a coffee shop. It doesn't even make me hate the coffee shop, but it makes me want to be like, I want to be the first coffee shop that brown people and black people can feel like, oh, I do belong here.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the whole meaning of, that's the whole like mission of Scratch and Brew. Like that's why I'm incorporating hip hop with coffee, because I feel like hip hop is the music of the people who are kind of struggling and they're in the lower tax bracket and we don't have that much money, and that's all the people who raised up from hip hop and all the originators. They were coming from a place of like no money. We just have us, and we're just going to put it through the music, and we're going to reach people who are going through the same stuff we're going through. And I feel like that music represents us. It represents the minority. It represents, I mean, 100% it is black people music. Like black people made this music. Black people. 50 Cent even said, he was just like, people are mad at Eminem because he's good at making black music. It's black music. Yeah. But it represents the minority, I feel.
It does, for sure. And like, and I mean, we've talked about, we've briefly like brought this up before, how like sometimes it irritates us when we go into a really like a hipster coffee shop and they're playing rap music, but there's nobody who's brown that works there.
Yeah, I've seen that tons of times.
And that's something that does irritate me, because I'm just like, I just feel like this is not something just to kind of get cool points for. You know, it's like...
But at the same time, we also got to realize, like, we don't really know their love for hip-hop.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is also what I ask myself when I do get, like, what the hell, why are all these people playing hip-hop? Like, why are they playing Migos? Like, why are they playing, like, Biggie right now? Why are they playing these people? At the same time, I got to check myself and be like,
for sure.
Gio, you don't know if these people grew up listening to hip-hop. You don't know, but at the same time, it's just, like, that natural reaction that's just like, hey... Yeah. You playing this music, you better have some brown or black people up in here for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, and again, like, I mean, whatever, even if they didn't grow up listening to hip hop music, whatever, if they're an adult, they like hip hop music and the employees can take over the music and they just want to play hip hop. I mean, like, and there's nothing inherently wrong about it. It's just, I think it's just because time after time I've gone into different coffee shops and I don't see anybody that looks like me or anybody in our family or like anybody like that, yet they're playing music, you know, like that. And it's just like, interesting.
A coffee shop I do want to give a lot of props to, though, for representing San Francisco and representing just all nationalities and making it feel really welcoming, honestly, is Phil's. Yeah. You walk into Phil's and you see just everyone in there. The music in there. The San Francisco memorabilia has. The San Francisco feel that Phil's has. That's one of the best coffee shops if you want to feel part of the coffee shop, 100% go there.
And I mean, they... across the board, from every location I've gone to from Phil's, they always have a very even distribution of like white people, Asian people, Hispanic, black people, Filipino people, and like every Phil's I've gone to. And I think I've gone to a lot of different Phil's locations. Yeah. And I never just see like one skin color across the board. They always have a really nice mixture of races there, which I always really, really appreciate at Phil's. So yeah, shout out to Phil's. I love you, Phil's.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say like everyone else is doing it wrong. No. Which is why I'm not saying any names of people who just like, I walked into here and then they were playing hip hop music. Yeah. But if I can give my props to someone just like that's obviously doing it the right way, I would say Phil's. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've been to other coffee shops that are doing it really well. Yeah. I just can't remember right now. Yeah. But so yeah, I think that's like, you know, that's something else we got to look for when we're going to coffee shops. Kind of, if you're brown or black person right now, go inside a coffee shop and just kind of look around and count. I mean, that's what I do. It doesn't make me hate anybody, but it helps me be like, all right, Gio, you can change this. Yeah. Like, if you and other people that look like you get together and talk about this idea, you can change it. Yeah. And I think if you do look like me, and brown or black person, go inside, count, and be like, wow, there's not that many people who look like me are in here. So I
think like And if you're wondering, like, why are we talking about this?
Well, we're bored. 100%.
One, we don't have anything to do today.
But also, this is something we've talked about just on our own a couple times.
We've definitely had multiple conversations just between me and Gio of this. But it's just something like, you know, we know that, like, people that we're friends with that are from the city that are minorities, like, they have a negative connotation of coffee shops.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, that means that, like, everything's going to get taken away from us. And they just basically see the spiral effect, the snowball effect that happens after, like, coffee shops come into the neighborhood. And because me and Gio are, like, we're coffee lovers. We love coffee. We love going to new coffee shops. We love these coffee shops that maybe we see that things could get improved in. You know, like, we love them. But really, we're having this conversation because we want to see things change. Really, we want to be able to see, like, more people of color see themselves in this coffee shop and not feel like, oh, that's a totally different realm, that's a totally different world, and I don't belong there. And I think really we're just trying to have this conversation to bridge the gap of, like, no, it's not like, oh, because they sell $5 lattes and you live in the Bayview, you don't belong there or something. Or you can never get there, or everyone would look at you weird if you're in there or anything like that. We're really just trying to bridge this gap of we don't want everyone to look at coffee shops, new hipster coffee shops, as this negative thing to enter into the neighborhood. That's pretty much, I think, like, why we have this conversation.
And I think, like, enough about coffee shops and just, like, about ourselves. Like, I love coffee. I enjoy coffee shops. I go to coffee shops all the time. And you know, like, family members, they call me hipster. You call me hipster. It took me a while to learn that I'm a hipster.
It's all good.
But for the longest time, I didn't like it because I felt like when someone called me a hipster, I felt like I was playing for the other team. I felt like, oh, you don't really care about your Hispanic people. You care about the quote-unquote hipster agenda because it's a negative connotation. At least when I hear the words like, oh, this new hipster coffee shop, it's always a negative connotation. Yeah. It's never a positive thing, so that's why I kind of just
flinch, like, a little,
cringe when someone's just like, oh, Jay, you look hipster. I'm just like, oh man,
you want to fight them.
How did this rub off on me? But at the same time, it's kind of like we try to balance it, and we're trying to make a change in whatever this quote unquote hipster what people think being a hipster is, which is, like, you say hipster, then you go into gentrification and coffee shops and boutiques. But it's just like, nah, man, there's a different side to people. Just people in general. There's a different side to them. So I think that's my last thoughts on this subject. What about you? You have anything else to?
No, not really. I love coffee. I love coffee shops. We just want to see more brown people in them. That's it.
Yeah, that's the whole mission, guys. So if you're over here and you're seeing the Scratch and Brew Instagram, and you're just like, what are they? They, like, have, like, mugs and like, what is this? It's like, so it's gonna be a coffee shop one day, and I say that now. But right now we're just trying to make a name. We're trying to have people understand our vision and what we want to do, which is a big reason that I want to do this podcast, because I haven't been able to kind of find a way to do that through Instagram and through the website. So I'm just like, screw it. People can hear it on this podcast. And plus, like, if I were to do, like, a little video of it, you always have that fake video voice, like, hey, my name is Gio, and this is this. So it's like a podcast. Your phone voice. It's the most, like, natural way to do it. So with that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed this podcast. I hope we were able to give you a new perspective. I hope you don't leave screaming at your phone saying Scratch and Brew hates white people or hates coffee shops.
We love you.
I love coffee shops. I love white people. I love expensive,
all races.
I love expensive boutiques. I love expensive coffee. So
we do.
That's what it is. Mic check 1 2 1 2. We out of here. Thank you for listening. Peace out, guys.
Bye.